you for everyone who joined today. It's nice to see some familiar faces and nice to have a new panel to discuss today's topic in hand, which is breaking the stereotypes between locals and diaspora. I think it's a topic we've discussed a lot on Clubhouse, specifically under the Armenians Club. And now that we have such a nice caliber of people here today as panelists with us, and as a reminder, this is the series that Birthright, AVC, and Repatriate Armenia have asked me to host, and we're trying to tackle multiple questions we've had over the months. We talked about COVID, post-war Armenia, and now we're talking about breaking the stereotypes, something that is still something we have to overcome. Sorry for using the word something twice, but otherwise, and tonight we have, or today for whoever's in the US, Ilona, Arina, Alan, Anahit, and Narineh, who are going to introduce themselves quickly so we can get to speaking in depth about this topic. So Ilona, introduce yourself quickly and we'll let the others do so as well, and we'll get it going.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm ABC local program alumni. I was a volunteer from March to April, and still now I'm actively involved in all the havocs and everything that Birthright and ABC do. And I've graduated from Russian Armenian University. I'm a linguist by my profession, and I'm going to continue my education in American University of Armenia at the field of political science and international affairs. So that's the brief intro.
Something very much needed, and thank you for doing that. It's very beneficial to the country and to us as well in diaspora. Thank you for the introduction. Arina.
Hi, everyone. So I think probably when Ilona was in kindergarten, I decided to move to Armenia to volunteer with the Armenian Volunteer Corps. It was a one-year program back then. I grew up outside of Boston in Lexington, Massachusetts. I studied in Montreal for university. I lived in Spain. I'm originally from Iran. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to try Armenia for a year, moved here, and fell in love with the experience, and obviously dealt with a lot of struggles, but best move of my life. And I'm here 20 years later. And I'm currently the director of admissions at the American University of Armenia. My Armenian is not amazing, and I've been able to have a job the full 20 years I've been here. So if anyone's thinking about it, it's possible to find work here.
Wow, amazing introduction. And Alan, if you can beat that one.
Oh yeah, I'll try. No guarantees. My name's Alan. I'm an attorney from the greater LA area. I did Birthright in 2013, and I moved to Armenia in 2017. And over the past year, I've been assisting the government on investment arbitration matters, and I love it here. You know, if you're thinking about coming to Armenia, definitely come. And if you're thinking about doing Birthright, you shouldn't even think about it. Just do it, because it's a fantastic program, and it really does integrate you into Armenian society here. So highly recommended.
Not too shabby. Good one. Completely agree. And Anahit, please.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Anahit from Armenia, Yerevan. I am the program coordinator at Armenian Volunteer Corps AVC since 2019. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Narineh, last but not least.
Hi, all. I'm Narineh. I'm a volunteer placement manager at Birthright Armenia. I've joined Birthright Armenia in 2020, last year, during pandemic, and changing my professions, like switching from the finance sector, from private sector, from HSBC Bank Armenia into the social initiative. And I found my beloved job. This is pretty much it.
How lucky is he or she who finds the job of their dreams? You're lucky, Narineh. And I'm just going to...
I'm indeed.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. And I'm just going to jump right into the list of questions I have prepared for for the panelists today, and I'm going to start naturally with Ilona, who's next to me, and to tackle this topic of breaking the stereotypes. So, Ilona, was the interaction with diaspora and Armenians a challenge or an opportunity for you? And if you can elaborate more on how so it was a challenge or an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. So I would not say that it was a challenge. I would agree with the fact that it was an opportunity for me, because if we say a challenge while barrier and world outlook, like a language barrier, because they speak Western. There is a difference between Western and Eastern Armenian, and some people can have misunderstandings. And there are also people who don't speak Armenian at all, so we have to use another language. But I'm lucky enough to be a linguist, so I can use English and French, and why not Russian in certain cases, and in different with different volunteers. So this is only an opportunity for me to practice my language skills. What about world outlook? Yes, I would definitely say that diasporans have a very much distinct outlook than Armenians, the locals that live here, because diasporans, they're more light, they love to enjoy the life and everything, and Armenians are more like profound, the locals, they like to judge everything and pay attention at every single thing. So yes, it is a bit different, but it brings only benefit, because communication with them definitely benefits people, and I think one just should understand the beneficial factors of it. So why it was an opportunity for me? Because I understood that I've been living here my whole life, all 21 years, and I understood that I was not that much part of the country. And I think that most of the locals can feel this, because every day I used to wake up, go to school, then go to the university, then maybe to work, and I didn't really understand what we have here in Armenia, because when I was talking with diasporans, they were like, when we walk down the streets here, we see we see the signs on the streets, they are written in Armenian. And we see people who walk on the street and they speak Armenian. And they said, this is something that we missed back home. And it's something that we needed to get. And here we don't really appreciate what we have. We don't really appreciate the buildings and how beautiful the city and the country in general is. And one of the cases was also when we went to the Haraparag's fountains the other day. It was in the evening, and there were like the singing fountains and everything. And I understood that I was there when I was a child, and I was very happy about it. I was very cheerful, and then I forgot about the existence of these fountains. And then with this experience, I feel like I'm a tourist here, and I enjoy just every second, every sip of the city, of the country. And so on the Birthright delivers special T-shirts to all the volunteers, and it's written a journey to self-discovery on these T-shirts. And I can definitely say that it's also a journey to self-discovery for locals, because you are given the opportunity to communicate with these diasporans. You're given the opportunity to discover Armenia from another angle. Because there are there are like 3 meetings, 3 havocs connected with Armenian culture, connected with Armenian industries, economy, and everything. And we locals who live here, we don't really know a lot of things about it. We don't really know how many people, how many investors they are who bring a lot of things, who try to develop our country. We don't really see these things. We just see whatever is on TV, whatever is on the internet, and it is not always pleasant. And even yesterday, we went to a master class, which was held by famous Armenian dance specialist Gagi Ginosyan, and he taught us how to dance, and he also told us interesting stories connected with dance culture and Armenia and how everything is connected. And I just understood that I've been living in Armenia for 21 years. I was the person who never went to dance classes. Well, I know that there are a lot of people who go to special Armenian dance classes, but I was not one of those kids. And I understood that by every single meeting, by every single event, I'm coming more and more closer to the culture. And otherwise, I wouldn't. Because even if we say, okay, we take classes in Armenian schools, there are several subjects that are connected with the culture. I've never felt so connected with Armenia, and that's just amazing in my opinion.
So you're
And
attributing
yeah,
you're attributing you discovering Armenia to the diaspora that's coming these
yes,
days, or in general.
yes, that might sound a little bit weird, but yes, that's it. I'm rediscovering the country with themselves every single day, and I also learn a lot of new things from them. And I didn't know that there are a lot. I knew, of course, that there are diasporans from all over the world, but I didn't know that there is this huge diaspora in, like, even Uruguay, in Argentina. There are volunteers from literally all around the world. We have volunteers from Australia. I was like, wow. And it's just amazing to meet people from really different parts of the world, and still you understand that you are connected, you have this chain. And we just have to accept that we need to have this tight chain with the diaspora, and we will be able to build up something amazing for the country.
You should spend
Yeah.
more time with the Habibi diasporans. They will teach you how to yalla everywhere and see the the other way of living in Armenia. But I love the way you've embraced the diaspora, and how there is no, I mean, you're not living the stereotypical relationship with the diasporans, which is technically like, I have my circle of people. You're actually jumping in to interact with these people, I mean us, basically, that
Yeah,
decide to go. That's an amazing take on your relationship
thank you.
currently.
I just want to add one more thing, if that's possible. Yeah, so previously there were a lot of events and a lot of conferences in Armenia that brought internationals, so like foreigners, to the country. And I've communicated with people from different nationalities, but I've never had a chance to communicate with a lot of people who came from diaspora at the same time. So that's just amazing. Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Thank you, Ilona. Thank you for that take. And
Thank
Arina,
you.
given the fact that you took the plunge back in 2002, and you've seen so much, and it's compelling to hear how you just went and decided never to leave again. So my question to you would be, let us know the challenges you faced when you first moved to Armenia, and what are your tips and tricks on overcoming them, if you had any, of course.
A great question, and thank you for that. I'm actually going to go back to before moving to Armenia. Yeah, I grew up in a household. We moved at a very young age from Iran to the U.S., and I was not really integrated in sort of like the diaspora. I didn't really relate with being Armenian, other than having a really weird name that none of my friends could pronounce, like Zarabian. What is that? So moving to Armenia, I think, was a shock for pretty much everyone and anyone I knew. It was, my brother had visited Armenia for 3 months. He was on his journey to become a lawyer and came to volunteer with a law company here. And the competitive arena that I am, I said, if my brother's coming for 3 months, I'm coming for a year. And that year, I'm still winning. I'm on year 20, as I mentioned. And I moved to Armenia immediately after graduating college, and after having spent about 6 months in Spain doing some marketing internship work. And I think for me, one of the biggest, I guess, eye-opening experiences was, I'm in Armenia, I'm with my people, I'm starting to relate with my people, and I was so out of check with what actually mattered in Armenia. And I started really learning about, like, people enjoying life, living despite all of the hardships. Now, mind you, in 2002, I think there might have been one restaurant. Like the Yerevan you guys see today, it was not that. We literally had one restaurant in the entire city. And I'm not even sure if it was the Marriott back then. It might have been, I don't remember what it was called. I've already forgotten that. But for me, the biggest challenges were language. Again, because not being extremely Armenian, growing up, I went to Saturday school, learned Armenian, and I thought I spoke fluently until I moved here and realized I understood almost nothing of what people said. You know, Garo and I were sort of joking about my accent. I'm a Barskahai, originally from Barskastan, although I consider myself more Hayastansi now, so since I've spent most of my life in Hayastan. But Armenians love to joke about the Barskahais, and so there were a lot of weird jokes, and you know, you've got to have a little bit of humor in you to be able to, and a little bit of thick skin, not be too sensitive, to be able to really survive and enjoy and engage in Armenia. One of the other issues, so when I came here, I started volunteering with the Armenian Volunteer Corps, and we have a lot of the other speakers here are part of ABC as well, and they were like, you know, as I again joked before, they were in like kindergarten when I was coming through ABC for a 1 year volunteer experience. And I was extremely lucky. People say that when you don't speak the language, when you're not from this culture, you're not going to be able to get a job. And I had really made a decision that I wanted to stay in Armenia. You know, in the diaspora, we hear Chayastan, or that's what I heard when I was back in, you know, sort of growing up in the Boston area, like, you know, poverty stricken, lots of challenges, war, this, that. And I came and it was a very different vibe. Like the people were amazing. The Armenians from Armenia, and generally Armenians as well, they're brilliant. They are so smart. And, you know, now in my position as director of admissions, like I have stats to back that up. The people that apply to AUA, these kids that are coming in, I mean, they're just brilliant. So that was another sort of amazing, eye-opening experience. But the other challenge for me was speed. I think Armenia works a little bit slower than I'm typically used to. I'm not sure if you guys sort of get the vibe that I'm extremely like aggressive and I speak fast and I do everything. So getting used to a different pace was a little bit problematic for me. Now, once I finished with my 1 year volunteership, I decided to apply for a few jobs. I was extremely lucky because I was the only underqualified person. Everyone else was super overqualified for this one US government job that had been opened. And I was very lucky to receive that job, and I grew to become country manager for a US based nonprofit that no longer functions in Armenia. And working at the office, you know, just there's an amazing sense of camaraderie with the people that you work with. But again, you know, the way that they've worked, the way that they've been raised, it's very different. So that cultural shift of how do I get people to work a little bit faster? How do we, you know, get more done? And for me, the one quick answer is, how do I overcome any of the challenges? I'm extremely goal oriented, and I pick my battles, right? So if you know, you set your sights on something and you want to do something, then you're definitely going to be able to achieve it. But you just got to push forward and make sure that you get there. So I think hopefully that's enough for you guys. I don't want to take too much time, but I encourage as many people in the diaspora to move here. You know, a lot of us with ABC thought that we were helping Armenia, but I feel like so many of us volunteers ended up getting, you know, so much more in return than any help that we were able to provide. So it was a very amazing experience for those of us who were able to come here for however much time to volunteer.
I love how you transitioned, and honestly, I wanted to come up with another question to back it up, but you answered everything so perfectly. I think it also gives no room for doubt for anyone who wants to move to Armenia or is second guessing themselves, because here you have someone who freshly graduated, did an internship in Spain, maybe saw so much, because I've lived in Europe and I know how fun Europe can be, and just took the plunge to that Armenia that is completely different than what we know today as the fun and vibrant city that it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Arina. So
Gato, you are never wrong.
you're too kind. But yeah, wow. Actually, I have no idea why I personally have that moving but family. But love that, Arina. And Alan, since you're my next prey, please share your
Let's do it.
experience with us. At this point, you're an attorney, and
Yep.
tell us what are the main aspects that you may think hinder the interaction between the locals and the diasporans.
Okay, first of all, Arina, I came here first in 2001, and I think one of the only restaurants operating was Marco Polo. I don't know if that's the restaurant you were thinking about. It just closed. just I think
I
a year ago.
think it's two then, because I just remembered Marco Polo. No, there was one down with like where the Voske Shuka is. That's the other one that I remember.
Okay, back to Garo's question. What hinders interaction between locals and diasporans? I'm going to speak primarily on behalf, from a diasporan perspective. I think most of the time, diasporans come here with preconceptions and expectations that in the homeland, everyone's going to understand them. But our nation is very layered. We come from various different backgrounds, and we can't expect Armenians in Armenia to completely get us, understand us. As we've discussed, there are Barskahais, there are Syrian Armenians, there are Lebanese Armenians, old American Armenians. Each has their own culture, each has their own dialect. So it's a bit optimistic to believe that a local Armenian will understand everything a diasporan does. So, of course, if you're thinking about coming to Armenia, it's best not to come with any preconceptions. This is your homeland, but at the same time, it is also a country, and it might be a foreign country. So you're going to have to, learn the cultural nuances, and also you have to engage in the interaction. You can't wait for someone else to take the initiative.
And how are you doing that?
You have to, talk to people, invite them out, have coffee with them. You have to also discuss your own cultural background, what elements make you Armenian, what type of Armenian practices you follow. Our homeland has been fractured. Each of us, regardless of where we ended up, we all took a part of the historic Armenia with us. So the best way of piecing it all together is by discussing it and sharing our backgrounds. And essentially, that's what I've been doing. I sit down, I talk to a lot of to locals, and I explain my point of view, my Armenianness, whatever that means. And I have not really, really focused on the interaction part too much. Ever since I came here with Birthright, or even before that in 2012, I just came here and I winged it. I was never really preoccupied with how people were going to perceive me. Sure, there were difficulties. I did have long hair then, and that was seen as very alien. There were hecklers, but it really didn't bug me. I knew it was different, and I just, I pushed forward, and I tried to just engage and interact and teach them my perspective.
And what
at the
advice
same
would you give
time, I
someone?
learned, and the best part about being in Armenia is I learned how and what Armenian is here. So, and that's a very important thing to do if you're thinking about coming here. You have to be understanding, and you have to also learn about the local culture. So that would be my biggest advice. Go ahead.
But what advice would you give someone who doesn't have as thick of a skin, who can easily overcome with emotion and just give up and decide to leave? Because there are a lot of things that would lead to that happening.
You're absolutely right. We just have to remember we have a homeland. We've been wanting one for 900 years. This is our shot. It's tough, but nowhere is easy. So I think that we have a stronger emotional connection to Armenia because it's our homeland, and because of that, we're more sensitive to any discrepancies or things that we find insulting. But this is a country like everywhere else, and we just have to remember that you have to learn the local ways, and that's that's pretty much, I think, the most important advice I can give if anyone's thinking about coming here.
I think you pointed out something very interesting, which is when the diasporans start to decide to move to Armenia, or they take a plunge, since they've always been in the comfort of their community, wherever they're from, or they know the mentality of where they're from, and when they take the plunge, it's so foreign, and they expect moving to Armenia to be so easy. Everyone's so welcoming and everyone is amazing. Everyone's perfect. And we forget the fact that there are good people, there are bad people, there are the ups and downs like any place on earth you can live in. But I think being the emotional people we are and poetic people we are, we even the slightest friction will dishearten us. But I completely agree. We just have to, at the end of the day, accept the fact that Armenia is like any other country with good people, bad people, people who are going to look at us in a certain way, people who are going to embrace us with open arms and just push through. So, Alan, thanks for that input and sorry for speaking over you.
No
In
worries. I
between
just
your
want to say
answers.
one more thing, and this is for the locals. Locals also have to understand that Armenians come from various backgrounds. I mean, we all know our history. We all know that the homeland has shrunk. We all know that Armenians were forced in various different countries. So, in regards to how locals should perceive diasporans, they also have to be more understanding and amenable to learning about all the various different backgrounds. And that's about it.
1,000,000% agree with you. 1,000,000%. Alan, thank you for that. And the following question is going to be for both Narineh and Anahit, as it seems. And because they're on the ground, they're facilitating for so many of us who want to move there. I would ask the question, which would be, what are the mechanisms in use to integrate locals and diasporans that you see, that you use or try to implement on a day-to-day?
Yeah, Garjan. Okay, thank you for the question. Before moving to this topic, to just explaining the mechanism that we are now using, I just wanted to explain a little bit about like the differences between Armenian Volunteer Corps and Birthright Armenia, if it is like possible. So, Armenian Volunteer Corps and Birthright Armenia have the same mission, which is to provide internationalists to have the very chance of experiencing Armenia not as tourists and be more engaged into the local life. So, but there is a difference between these two organizations, which are like sister organizations in fact. The difference is the target audience. It's like Armenians from 21 to 32 are eligible to participate in the Birthright Armenia program. And those 21 plus can participate in the Armenian Volunteer Corps program, and 22 plus, all Armenians can participate. I mean, in Armenian Volunteer Corps program, all the internationals can participate, irrespective of the nationality. So, and coming up to your question, well, many of our program beneficiaries visit Armenia in some cases even for several times as tourists, so before applying to the program. And afterwards, they apply. And you know why? The right answer is that there can be many reasons. However, one of the primary ones is the lack of experience with the locals while being a tourist. For this reason, we continuously generate ideas and implement strategies aiming to create the bond between the locals and diasporans, the internationals. To name some of these strategies, programs, mechanisms, call it as you wish to, we offer the volunteers to stay with the host families. This is one of the main mechanisms. In fact, AVC, Armenian Volunteer Corps, and Birthright Armenia highly encourage host family living, at least for the first couple of months, as this helps with cultural adaptation and integration and provides an insight into local Armenian everyday family life through immersion in the culture and language, let alone the lifelong ties to create. We offer weekly excursions, forums, and discussion meetings between locals, like local volunteers and international volunteers. We offer them and highly encourage to have joint initiatives. We offer and help to connect for experience exchange or mentorship. And we offer English classes For example, we had cases when English classes were conducted by internationals, for example, in Gyumri, for Gyumri local program participants, and Armenian classes for the internationals, like both in Gyumri and Yerevan. As you might know, we have also a program in Gyumri, like we have a fully supported program in Gyumri with a program coordinator there. So, and one of the mechanisms we put into force last year was the local volunteering program. And here I want Anahit to dwell a little on this and explain the details and how how the program started. And by the way, Ilona was the participant of the second run of the local volunteering program. Anahit, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Narineh. First of all, I want to say that local volunteering program is a joint initiative. We started the program in summer 2020, having in mind the extensive experience that the Birthright and Armenia ABC programs have had in working with international communities, and by adopting this program to the Armenian reality and to the Armenian market need. So we can agree that 2020 was a difficult year, definitely for all of us. But I think that we admit that it was a year of flexibility and new opportunities. And although we have had the idea of local volunteering for years, 2020 was the year that we started the program. So I must say that, as Narineh noted, we have this fully support program in Gyumri, and we started our local program in Gyumri on the very same time as we did it for Yerevan. So we started from 15 volunteer with having 15 volunteers for the first pool of applications. And overall, we have had over 30 local volunteers so far. So we have had 2 rounds with overall 30 volunteers. And happily, I can say that from 60 to 70% of local volunteers are Gyumri people, which is a very positive thing that we can highlight about. So the beauty of this program, the local volunteering program, what I see is, first of all, is the networking opportunity that the program offers, the international environment, and customized approach that we have in the placement process. I mean, for us, it's very important to customize and make the program appreciated by the local volunteer in terms of their preferences and skills, of course, because when studying the market, we've seen that not all the programs, all the local volunteering programs offer this opportunity to offer customized approaches, like understand what is needed and what is asked from a volunteer. So it's usually something that market needs, but here we here we understand both approaches, both the market and the customer. So as Narineh told, we have, as a result, we have these English classes led by internationals that were mainly planned and designed for local volunteers. Usually we do Armenian classes only for internationals. This time we have also English classes. So we have established mentorship relations and experience exchange between locals and internationals. And local volunteers also becoming host families for our new international volunteers, which I guess is also a very good side for us. So we plan to have our next pool of applications in fall to open the new call in fall. So I highly encourage to the audience who will be interested in this program to follow our social media pages and apply when the call is there. Thank you very much. And one thing, I'm now listening to Ilona, Arina, and Ellen, and I feel very proud about what we are doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you for both of you. And I wanted to stress out the fact that Narineh, for example, I've never seen a Birthright volunteer, or I've rarely seen a Birthright volunteer who didn't have an amazing time or with bittersweet emotions went back to where they came from, and with that amazing hoodie you have that everyone seems to be wearing it all the time, posting pictures, and the experiences they have. I know from my sister, and she tells me with I mean, with you can see the nice experience she had when she went to Armenia and did Birthright, and the placement, the host family, the location they were living in, the atmosphere, everything was amazing. And when it comes to AVC or Repat, the connections you make or networking, for example, Arina here on stage is director of admissions at AUA, and she's a alumni, and all those amazing people from Diaspora moving to Armenia, and the connections you're making when you're there, just good for your professional life, for your social life, and life in general. Because if for you that one of the meanings of life is moving back to Armenia or moving to Armenia for the first time, then you're just completing the circle and finding happiness, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true, Garajan, and that's why I mentioned in my while introducing myself that I'm greatly enjoying my what I'm doing here. So thank you all for this, and also just it was a discovery for me from like when Ilona was telling about her experience with the diasporans, that she was like discovering Armenia newly with the help of them, and this is true for myself as well. And we're discovering Armenia with every volunteer coming to Armenia. So thank you,
Amazing.
new applicants.
Rediscovering Armenia, thanks to the diaspora. The new slogan for Birthright 87.
Right.